Hello, greetings everyone. We're gonna decode and read On Beyond Zebra by Dr. Seuss. Um,
Thank you. Before we get started, is Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, 86 breath slash born day. If she like to give space and room for, if anyone would like to share some remarks regarding Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, um, and her work, and if her work has helped you. And so yeah, I'll start with that. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, the ISIS papers, that book has definitely changed my life. It When I read it, I just developed just new emotions of like power, and I was like, wow, I know what I'm supposed to do here on planet Earth, because I was always I was attempting to like heal the trauma that Black people face, but I didn't know where this trauma was coming from. I didn't know like why it was on planet Earth. But reading Dr. Francis Cress Welsing work really helped with my confusion, and it is definitely without her book, this book club would not exist. I would still be consuming poison, thinking thinking in incorrect ways, and behaving in incorrect ways without reading her book and without understanding that the ISIS papers Dr. Francis Cress Welsing has bestowed upon me. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to have been given to. Without her book, I would not be aware of my cosmic assignment, my cosmic responsibility to do what I need to do, which is to help produce justice. And yeah, I hope everyone, every Black person reads her book, every non-white person reads her book and takes the message seriously, so we can solve the problem immediately. But I could talk about her book and her profound essence and what she's done for me for hours, but I'll stop there.
um, Hope have the biggest birthday. Um, she was just meant to spread the most profound information, and knowing that learning is more to share than to just keep it to yourself. So I'm glad that she shared this with the world. Um, that the book, the ISIS paper, really changed my point of view of things and made me look at a lot of things very differently. And I love all the bases that she touched on these books from detail to detail. So you can see it from a point of view of things that make sense. And now the functioning of white supremacy and racism makes way more sense than before I even read this book. So I just appreciate the light she has given to people that feel lost and don't feel like they know their purpose. Our purpose is to produce justice for us to be equal. And if not, we're fighting for it until we die. But I feel like, you know, God created her to as a vessel for us to function as well as a vessel so that we can keep this information and spreading it and learning it and projecting it going. Um, so I'm just glad that I read this book because now the way that I teach my child is completely different. And the way that she's going to be raised is going to be completely different because she won't be lost and confused as to why. She'll be more understanding and know how to move him. Maybe I might not figure out how to solve, but she'll already be halfway there than what I'm already at. So I think Dr. Cress Wilson.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to share some words about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's work? Okay, let's get to today's study. Thank you for that, Chris. I'm very
Sorry. Can I go before you
Oh
start,
yeah,
please?
yeah. Please do.
I was trying to post something. Um, um, I am so pleased. I've heard many years within the past 4 years about Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and her book, but no one really explained to me how important this book really was. They just kind of did a few quotes or whatever. And I thought that's how I really knew her, was through those little quotes. And I would quote the quotes. But the one that sticks out to me is that she quotes quite up in a lot of her lectures, is that reading is more important than watching TV. And that's the premises of this book club. Reading. This is something was passionate to Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's heart, was about reading, because she knew there was so much information hidden in these books that we refuse to read. And even to the book that she has written, she poured her heart out into this book. And this is such an awesome book. And so many times I hear people talk about, if you ask them about the book, oh, I read it when I was in college, and I read it and I read. But then you're trying to figure, okay, well, if you read the book, why aren't you working or planning to produce justice? Because this is what her book was telling you to do. But I think a lot of people just assume reading it was just enough, as any book you would read. But this book is not like any book that you would just read. This is a book that should provoke you to action. And if you're reading the book and it's not provoking you to action, you need to go back and read the book again, and then read it again, and then read it again till it provokes you to action. Because that's the only way the injustice that's being bestowed on Black people worldwide, non-white people worldwide, that's the only way justice is going to be produced, is that we all get involved and do our part. My part is not your part is not mine. But whatever you see fit to do. And not only did she ask you to read her book and then go to action, she, in her preface, she acknowledges Neely Fuller Jr.'s book in her preface. So she's telling you how important this book is to you. And because of the work that Neely Fuller Jr. has done with the United Independent Concept Code book, we have to put both of these books in our head to find a solution of how to plan to replace racism, white supremacy. If not, we will continue to live in this prison system that we call a life. This is not a life. This is a prison. And we were not born to be a prisoner. We were born to become the universal man and the universal woman. But we can't be that or become that in a prison of injustice. We cannot. So the only way we can do it is that when we make up our minds to do our part, and we all have a part. Now, some people may want to put their head in the sand. Go ahead if that's what you feel you need to do. But then there are going to be other people to say, I no longer want to live this way. I want to do what I can to produce justice, guaranteeing that no one is being mistreated, guaranteeing that Everyone who needs help gets the most constructive help. That's what we should be about, bringing unity and peace to the world. That's how it's done. When we stop mistreating people, we stop lying to people, we stop doing anything that's harmful to people. We're doing too much of that. And yet we're calling this a life existence. No, it's not. It's not the best we can do. And because it's not the best we can do, we should seek to do better. Every day we should seek to do something better to make being here a little bit easier. But until justice is produced, it will stay the same. So we have to produce that. So I honor Dr. Frances Cress Welsing today for the difference she has made in my life through her book, the difference she has made in my life for uh, reading Neely Fuller's book as well, and then deciding how to write the ISIS paper. These books are connected. You can't read one without the other. They are connected. And when you read them both and begin to find out ways that you can produce justice, justice will sooner or later happen. Some people say it may not be in our lifetime. I don't know if it will or if it not, but I know one thing, till the rest of my life, this is what I plan to do, is to produce justice and to share with others how they can become a part of this movement and to produce justice. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I didn't read much before. I didn't read at all actually before picking up the ISIS papers, and now I understand reading. So important, so important. White racist man, racist woman think so little of us that they have hidden everything we need in books, and they mock us. Yeah, pick it up, Negro. What you gonna do with that book? So they mock us, knowing that the majority of us won't pick up these books and won't use these books to try to produce justice. To produce justice. So thank you for that, Ms. Williams, and thank you, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, for just living as a profound example of deep self-respect, deep Black self-respect. So without further ado, we shall get started with this book written by racist suspect Dr. Seuss. I'm gonna read first, and then when I stop, Leah or Z take over, and then after them, whoever wants to read can take over. On Beyond Zebra by Dr. Seuss. Said Conrad Cornelius O'Donnell Odell, my very young friend who is learning to spell. The A is for ape, and the B is for bear. The C is for camel, the H is for hare, the M is for mouse, and the R is for rat. I know all the 26 letters like that. Let's see. I'm just gonna make sure we're not missing any of the. All right. Through to Z is for zebra. I know them all well, said Conrad Cornelius O'Donnell Odell. So now I know everything anyone knows from beginning to end, from the start to close, because Z is as far as the alphabet goes. Then he almost fell flat on his face on the floor when I picked up the chalk and drew one letter more, a letter he had never dreamed of before. And I said, you can stop if you want with the Z, because most people stop with the Z, but not me. And the places I go, there are things that I see that I never could spell if I stopped with the Z. I'm telling you this because you're one of my friends. My alphabet starts where your alphabet ends. Okay. My alphabet starts with this letter called Yuz. It's the letter I use to spell Yuz a must has. You'll be sort of surprised what there is to be found once you go beyond Z and start poking around. Okay, I'll let someone else take over.
I'll read. So, so on beyond zebra explore, like Columbus discover new letters, like wum is for Wombus, my high sprouting whale, who lives high on the on a hill, and who never comes down until it's time to refill. So on beyond sea, it's high time you were shown that you really don't know. All three,
Are
they,
there
all there is to be known. Then just step farther,
a
and then just a step farther past one is for one bus, and three
there
there you'll find and the is for umbus, a short
sort
uh, a sort of a cow with one head and one tail. But to milk this great cow, you need more than one pow.
pale
Hell, she has 98
faucets
faucets that give milk quite nicely. Perhaps 99. I forgot just price
precisely.
precisely. And boy, she is something most people don't see because most people stop at the Z, but not me. I rumble,
Ramble.
I I ramble, I scramble through swamp and through swamp there
Where
where the letter gets better, like letters like hump. There's a real handy letter. What's handy about it? You just can't spell hump a dumper without it. Do I switch now?
um if you want to, do you want to let someone else take over?
Okay.
If you stay home with with zebra, you stuck in a
Right.
wood. But on
Beyond.
beyond zebra, you anything. But why I know is fun,
Fine.
fine,
Fine.
fancy letter called
Butter.
federal. I use in it in the link miss
Butter. Be better.
fati that fati
Butter.
faro
Be
di
better.
solo, and oh, wait, a bird of a bird of a bird of her tail is the longest that's never been heard of so long, and a fancy she'd be in the fix, a fix, if she didn't have helpers. It takes about 6 to tag along, wasting, hoisting Miss Further the Daddles. Wonderful tale out of Muddle Deep Puddle. And Glick for Glicker, who lives in wild weeds and spends his time juggling fresh cucumbers, cinnamon seed, which no, which he's usually about able to find in great numbers, expecting, of course, in the month of September, when cinnamon seed aren't around in great numbers. So that month he juggles with seeds of cucumbers. That's all I see. And none is the letter I. Use the spell nunches who live in small caves, no in niches or for nutches. Hutches. These nutches have trouble, the biggest of which is the fact there are many more nutches than niches. Each nutch in a niche know that some other nut would like to move into the niche very much. So each nut in a niche was to has to watch that small niche or nutches who haven't got niches will snitch. Then we go on the
To
to
me.
snee, and the snee is for needle, and
Okay.
a
Terrible.
terrible kind of
Roaches.
ferocious
Keto.
mosquito whose humdinger
Ginger.
stinger
Stinger.
is sharp as a needle. The needle to stop
Tough.
tough,
Tough.
tough to be killed with a smack.
Mm.
So he has to be hunted on elephant's back and use eyes, and the elephant to be keen, and you a, have to aim fast, and you have to hit it clean, and you're the but
Bullet.
bullet you shoot is a
Still.
steel
Navy.
navy
Bean. Bean.
beam that you
You.
you've stuck for 3 weeks in old sour
Sour.
sour
Kerosene.
kerosene, which is
Lee.
awfully hard working. Work. So it's easy to see why most people stop at the Z, but not me.
Y'all could go next, but I can't see the blue or the red backgrounds.
Someone else can read that.
I said I would read, but I can't see the blue background. I mean, I can't see the letters because of the blue background.
Okay, you could go.
When you go beyond zebra, who knows? There's no telling what wonderful things you might find yourself spelling. Like Quan is for quandary, who lives on a shelf in a hole in the ocean alone by himself. And he worries each day from the dawn's early light, and he worries far into the night. He just stands there and worries. He simply can't stop. Is his top side his bottom or bottom side top? And the then is for the Nanders. And oh, are they sad? Oh, the big one you see has the smaller one's shadow. The shadow the small the Nander has should be his. I don't understand, but that's how it is. A terrible mix up in shadows. Gee whiz. And spaz is a letter. I used to spell spasm, a beast who belongs to the nasm or basm. Handy for traveling, that's why he has in. More easy to pack than a suitcase or grip. Those horns carry all that he needs on a trip. A thread and a needle for mending his socks, his toothbrush, a cup, a 2 3-handed clock, and his velvet umbrella, his vegetable chopper, and also his gold-plated popping corn popper, and a grasshopper cage for his favorite grasshopper.
All right. And flob is for flob. Boober bab boober bubs who bounce in the water like blueberry tubs. They're no good to eat. You can't cook them like steaks, but they're handy in crossing small oceans and lakes. Okay. And that is the letter I use to spell that's it, whose nose is so high that most nobody pats it. And patting his lonely old nose is the least that a fellow could do for this fine friendly beast. So to get there and do it, I built an invention, the three-seater That's it. Nose padding extension. If you try to drive one, you will certainly see why most people stop at Z, but not me. Okay. And jog is my letter for spelling joggins, who doodle around in the far desert dunes, just doodle around crooning very sad tunes, and peppermint peanuts and pebbles and prunes, and paint pots and polka dots, pinheads and pigs, and their grandmothers, grandfathers, stepsisters' wigs. So you see, there's no end to the things you might know, depending how far beyond zebra you go. Okay. I've a letter called Flun, and the Flun is for Flannel, a softish, nice fellow who hides in a tunnel. He only comes out of his hole. He only comes out of his hole, I'm afraid, when the right kind of softest, nice music is played on a kind of a hunting horn called their old grunt. And to learn how to play it takes month after month of practicing isn't much fun if, and besides, it's quite heavy, weighs almost a ton of. That's why few people bother to play the Ogrenov. So the funnel's been out of this tunnel, just one of. Um, has it been 25 pages yet? Can't tell.
Yeah, I have.
All right, this will be the last page that I read until we'll take a break. We'll discuss what we read and then finish. And way past Z is a letter called itch, and the itch is for ichthyopods, animals which race around back and forth. My bad. Race around back and forth and back through the air on a very high sideway between here and there. They're afraid to stay there. They're afraid to stay here. They think there is too far. They think here is too near. And since here is too near and out there is too far, they are too scared to roost wherever they are. Hey.
Wow, wow, wow.
All right, so we're gonna pause for our discussion break and then after finish. Um, so that was a lot. Um, Definitely a really interesting Dr. Seuss book. Um, wow. So I'm probably not picking up on everything that is. I'm not picking up on everything, that's for sure. Besides what I saw earlier, which I believe it was. the Columbus. Yeah, this part right here I picked up on immediately. So go beyond zebra, explore like Columbus. Did Columbus explore, or did he was he commissioned to go?
He did a lot of bullying
Yeah, I think he was commissioned to go mistreat non-white people. I don't think that's what exploring
and
is.
steal their land,
Yep.
quote unquote.
I saw that too.
Mm. The what else did Trilwyn see? Lazy. You guys pick up on anything else I may have missed?
Ooh, the one that say doo doo. I'm not trying to laugh, but that's disrespectful when you say doo doo.
It's called doodle.
The lot of monkeys.
I want to see the page when he was talking about hitting that little animal with a bullet navy beam.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think it's this one.
Yeah, is this one?
Yeah.
He
What
was
do you
too
think?
tough to be killed with a scratch, and he has to be crouching on elephant's back.
Yeah.
He
This is
harming a small animal.
yeah. Like Dr. Seuss has a thing with depicting kids mistreating and dominating creatures. It seems.
Yeah.
And shooting and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
go with the the page when the long gray hair? Okay.
Let me see. Just tell me if I pass it or.
I think it's before. I think it's that animal with the long red hair and autumn. Yeah, this one.
Yeah. Must
The
no
one before, the one two before. No,
uh
you skipped it.
go forward.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see all those animals helping the one, and they look sad. And then that boy, the two white boys are watching him, and that's like disrespectful.
The what should the two boys be doing instead of just watching?
Helping
Helping do what?
to to um to um to clean clean the fancy bird, I guess.
Mm. Um, why does this bird think she deserves to have these people help her carry around her fur? Why can't she just cut it? So the
Because
Mhm.
if it have no hope, then it would take like 6 weeks, like six uh um
Especially lazy. That's what it is.
because
I
because
feel like
because he's lazy, like lazy.
I think maybe that because she thinks it looks so pretty and beautiful that she doesn't want to cut it.
Yeah,
La-
yeah,
Lazy little.
yeah. I think this is one of the this is a very good example of racism and white supremacy because we have a bunch of miserable people. You see, like these creatures, they look pretty miserable, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Especially
Yeah.
yeah,
in the
yeah, miserable and ugly. And the system of white supremacy, we have a bunch of miserable and ugly people being forced to keep this system going, being forced to carry this system on our backs, being forced to keep it in motion. And like this bird, she could be seen as the system of white supremacy, and this is the black people, brown people, yellow people, red people. You know, we just all have to force. We just have to force help the system be here. But what we could do is just put the feathers down and do something more constructive by producing justice. Like if these creatures have said, hey, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I want to produce justice. I want to do something more constructive with my time than this. I think
But they're too scared, I think. I think they're too scared that they can't stand up to the lady.
Mm. Yeah, that either too scared or don't know
Like
that they need to.
water looks like it's drowning.
Like, help me. Please help me.
I think the story is about like white people going around the world. And I think that's why it's saying like discover like Columbus and go beyond the Z, because they're trying to like find so-called like new undiscovered worlds that they can like colonize and take over. And then all of these different creatures are supposed to represent like the Black and brown people around the world that they've taken control over, because all these creatures are supposed to be like exotic and different. That's what I thought when I was reading it.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Now,
could see that because of the page with the niches and the nudges and the whatever. It looked like they placed them somewhere instead of like that's where they're living.
yeah, and another good point about this page is that yeah, there's one. I think there's six. One, two, three, four, five, six, and there's one racist suspect creature here, and there's six victims here. So they outnumber this this racist suspect, but
Mhm.
but still they're under this person's control. They're under this person's this power, and that's exactly like what we're living in 2021. We are people who are not white, people who are black, brown, yellow, and red, etc. We outnumber white people, but due to the fear, due to the misery created by white supremacy, we aren't aware of this fact, and if we are aware of this fact, we aren't utilizing it to produce justice. Like these creatures could be utilizing their numbers to say, hey, we're gonna chop off your feathers, or we're gonna let you do this by yourself, and we're gonna go read some books because this is not constructive for us. We have a person here almost drowning trying to keep this afloat, and very remnants of the system we're living in. I like this one. I like this one a lot because we see racist child, racist man, racist woman, racist child collectively, racist white dog. Like just studying this non-white creature. And when I saw this page, I just said, wow, it's just white people studying some kind of foreign primitive creature personally found. It's just really interesting. Does anyone have any thoughts about this page, or was it just me?
Um, how they're smiling
You.
and they're conscious of what they're doing, and it looks like the little creature is entertaining them while they're smiling.
Hey, and I have to read this one because I wasn't able to understand it that clearly, really quickly. And nut is the letter I use to spell nutches, who live in small caves known as niches for hutches. These nutches have troubles, the biggest of which is the fact that they are many more nutches than niches. Each nutch in a niche knows that some other nutch would like to move into his niche very much. So each nutch in a niche has to watch that small niche, or nutches who haven't got niches will snitch. Oh, another page about the numbers games. I
Yeah.
think white people are always thinking and are always aware that hey, we are the global minority. There's very tiny white people. There's very tiny amount of white people on the planet, which is why this system is in place. Genetic white genetic annihilation is to prevent white genetic annihilation. So this page is I see a bunch of paranoid creatures who like who are trying to keep their place. They're just trying to keep their place, and their place seems to be up top, high, above the rest. Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Whoever ain't got niches will
It
snitch.
looks like it looks like they're in jail.
It looks like they live in a little apartment complex.
It's like they leave all of them over there.
And they look terrified.
So we covered this. Did anyone have it? Oh, this page has a lot going on. Has a lot going on in it. I'm just gonna I see the racist caricature, the brown man in the desert riding a camel. Um there could be more to this page. Is anyone seeing anything else here?
Um, I think the clock is the time that white people feel like they have on their hands. Um, I see a lot of weapons,
Mm.
and then the umbrella is to
Mm.
I think to like to take to like get all animals.
Mm.
maybe he's in a time span to get all
I
of
don't
them.
I don't know why they call him Nazem. Is that supposed to rhyme with the word that he said before?
Excuse me.
You
Mm. It's a good question. I have no clue. I when I see Nazem, I think Nebuchadnezzar, and I don't know what that is. I just know it's from probably some holy text or some place. Nebuchadnezzar is either a place or some place in the Bible. I don't know, but that's what I hear. That's what comes to mind when I see this, when I see that name. But the question for Leia and Miss Z, um, who are the white supremacists in this story, and who are the victims so far?
I feel like the kids are the white supremacists and everyone else is a victim.
The victim is the animals are the victim.
And who are the white supremacists?
The children, I think.
The white supremacy
Mhm.
is the children, I guess.
You guess, or you?
I think the animal.
And the elephant, because he's helping the boy to shoot the animal.
But what if the elephant's just refining the system and he's not the racist? He's just refining the system by helping the racist.
I feel like he's forced to do it. He's forced to kill people, kill a bug, an animal.
Okay. Let's Does anyone have anything else to say about the pages we read? If not, I want to get back to finishing it. Miss Williams. Any notes about the pages we just went over?
Yes. Okay, but what I want you to do, I'm going to tell you the page number,
Uh-huh.
and then I want you to put the page on the screen.
Yeah.
And I'm only giving this from an educator's point of view. Everybody may not agree with what I see, but because I did see it, to me, it was worth speaking about.
Okay.
Okay, let me get my paper because I jotted down notes. Go to page. Okay, no, before we go to any page, let me say this. Okay, a lot of people don't know the history of Dr. Seuss. And because we are on, I think this is the third book,
Mm-hmm.
it dawned on me, who is Dr. Seuss, right? So what I did in my research, I looked it up. His name is Theodore Seuss Geisel, Geisel. He was born on March the 2nd, 1904 in Springfield, Massachusetts. He died September the 24th, 1991 in La Jolla, California. He's an author, a political cartoonist, an illustrator, poet, animator, filmmaker, and he had education. He got a bachelor's degree in Dartmouth College, and then looked like he had some college in Lincoln College and Oxford. But this is a well-educated man. But then, if you go back to the very front. I don't know what page is where he does that dedication to Helen. I don't know what page that is.
I have this to Helen.
Yeah, right there. Okay, now, did anybody think about who is Helen?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, I missed that part.
Okay, as an educator, I didn't. Check this out. To Helen. Now, at first, I thought maybe Helen was Dr. Seuss's little girl, right? So I decided I'll do research. I went back to find out, did Dr. Seuss have children? And guess what? He had no biological children. None. None. Helen is his wife. I think she was his first wife. Her name is Helen Palmer Geisel, which is his last name, right? Now, there is a make-believe imaginary daughter that he did some work with, where he did some like holiday cards or something that he did. But this name was not Helen. So this book is dedicated to his wife, okay? Not a child, to his wife. Okay, the second thing that I want to mention is that he created an imaginary daughter, and her name was Crystallum Pearl, okay? I'm going to spell it. CHRYSANTHEMUM -Pearl, PEARL, okay? Now, this was an imaginary child, okay? When Dr. Seuss's wife was asked by some magazine, I don't recall the magazine right now, but she was asked about his love for children, because everybody thinking he just loved children, right? That's why he wrote these books, right? You would think. Okay, well, most people would think that he loved children. That's why he wrote these books. His wife said he was afraid of children. Hold on, let me find a post for that. He was afraid of children. How do you write children's books and you are afraid of children? I found this article, hold on. It says, and this is in, if you Google it, it'll be Cheat Sheet Magazine Entertainment. It says Dr. Seuss was actually afraid of children, his wife once said. How are you afraid of children, but you write over 60 books for children? Okay? So it led me to wonder, if you're afraid of children, these books can't be for children. Who are they for? Who are these books for? From my understanding, from the research that I've done, it appears to me that Dr. Seuss is writing in code that only racist white supremacists would understand and appreciate, even though he's using fictitious characters that children may enjoy. He's not writing to children. He's using code to talk to other racist suspects. Now, this is my analogy. Now, everybody may not agree with this, but this is what I came up with. Go to page 10.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay, now I can't really read that. Page 10. Go back, wait a minute, 10. It's something where it says, so now I know everything anyone knows. That page, I think that's 10. It's not at the beginning, it's gonna be somewhere maybe at the very bottom of the page.
Okay, just let me know, because we have different page numbers because I'm using different software.
Okay, I can't pull the page numbers up because if I do that, I have to leave out of the thing.
Oh no, no. Do you see the screen? Just let me know. Tell me when to stop.
Okay, go forward. Keep going forward.
We haven't read this part. We haven't read past this part. We haven't read past this part yet.
Go to the beginning. It's to the beginning because it would be. I wrote it down as page 10.
All right, just let me know. Just let me know what page it's on. So this is the beginning.
Hold on, right? It may be that page right there. I can't see it. Let me see. I'm trying to open it up and see. Okay, I think this is. Okay, it says, said Conrad Cornelius O'Donnell Odell, a very young friend is learning to spell. A is for 8, which I'm suspicious about that. And then B is for bear, C is for camel, H is for hare. Now, at first I thought the hare was that hairy creature, but then I saw that rabbit in that hole, so I knew he must be the hare. And the mouse is that little one that was juggling those cucumber seeds. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then it says, and R is for rat, but maybe the mouse and the rat the same people. I don't know. But anyway, it says, take note to this. It says, I know all the 26 letters. Okay, so it's not that page. Go 26 letters. Go up one. Let's see if it's there.
Is this one?
No, that's not it. No, that's not it. I'm looking for the where he writes, I know everything that you know. I mean, it would be after all the alphabets to say it over there, I guess. Let's see. No, that's not it either. But anyway, on that page, what made it something that caught my eye was that I know everything anyone knows, right? And then a thought came to mind about Star Trek. Now, a friend of mine and I were talking the other night about Star Trek, right? But I never thought about it from this point. But anyway, Star Trek has a saying that they say. It says, going where no man has ever gone before, right? This is exactly what they're talking about. That's their code. Every adventure that they're doing, these are going into places that have never gone before. But these are places where they have conquered people. For my analogy, these are places where we see those people carrying, those 6 people carrying that hair of that creature. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a real creature like that. He made it like that to appear to children, but it's actually gone into places that they've gone in and they've conquered, and they're mocking these people. But he's using these characters to not directly tell you who they are, but they let you see those characters carrying that hair, so you know they were slaves or people they were mistreating. Okay? Another point since you can't get the pages, I'm just going to go ahead and just talk about it, and people can go back to the book and just look at it. On page 11, I count, says most people stop with the letter Z, but not me. That's their imagination from where they are. They never are gonna stop trying to conquer other people. They're talking about going to Mars now. If they go there, they're gonna look for people to mistreat there too. If it's some there, they will not stop. This is their whole goal. That's what they seek to do. And when they get there, just like they did in Africa, they renamed everything. That's why you see him talking about these letters. You can't stop at the letter Z because you got to keep making new names for people, just like they've done with Black people. How many times have they changed our names or our classification? How many times? They're the ones that's doing that, not us. When they went to what we call Africa, which we know is not Africa, they renamed it from what it originally was. They renamed everything. They renamed all the animals, and they call it whatever they want to call it. On page 22, they're mocking non-Black people. There's those slave workers, and it's for their pure entertainment. That's why you see those 3 people over there, those children, whatever, looking at them. That's for their entertainment. They like mistreating people and laughing and mocking that. On 23, it talks about, page 23, it talks about juggle the seeds of the cucumber. That's that one that I think that may be the rat or the thing, but all the other time he's eating those what was it, not cranberry, cinnamon seeds, right? All the other time, all the rest of the months, he's eating cinnamon seeds, but only once in the year he started juggling cucumber seeds. So why is he juggling cucumber seeds? Isn't he going to be hungry that month? But that may be the lack what they're taking from him. So he doesn't have anything to eat. It's evidently you don't want to eat cucumber seeds because he's juggling them. He's not eating them. Then on page 19 and 20, I know I'm going around, but y'all have to just mark this. 19 and 20, it talks about from swamp to swamp. From swamp to swamp. They don't care how far they go to mistreat people. They gotta keep doing it because this is what they love doing. Then on page 18 and 19, it says small caves, which is niches, which is to me, they hoods and projects. And the people they're mistreating are non-white people who are trying to find decent places to live, and it's not enough places for them. Gentrification is happening. They're getting them out of their hoods. And where the people gonna go? So the people start snitching and do whatever they have to do to try to keep a roof over their head.
Wow.
Okay, one more thing. I just took notes because I'm like, what in the heck?
Wait, can I just say something? Like, that is such a great observation. Even in this picture, you can literally see the way it looks like people.
I hadn't even gone that far.
Yeah, like stuck in their small little apartments, like all cramped up and stuff in cities. That's crazy.
Yes.
Jeez.
And a whale on page 16. Okay. The whale on top of a hill. Now, everybody knows a whale is supposed to be in water. That whale is on top of a hill with a little spurt of water coming out of his head, right? But then they say he only comes down when he needs to refill. Refill where? I don't see any water down there. I mean, maybe some water. Y'all see any water? They're walking on land. Ain't no water. Mistreatment again. Taking him out of his natural habitat, right? And then one more with the cow. Find that cow. You need that picture for that cow. Find that cow. Yeah, thank you. That cow. Okay, now maybe I got a serious imagination because I've been with children so long, but I don't think this is my imagination. Normally, we already know a cow gives milk. We know this. This cow is, I don't know how long she is, or it is, because it ain't a she, it's an it. It is, but this cow, he even mocked the fact that the cow gives out milk, 98 faucets, and the milk and gives the milk quite nicely. So quite nicely. Who in the hell is giving away milk nicely? And a 98. So you need more than one pail. You're gonna need probably 98 pails. What you think? And then you say, well, possibly, perhaps, maybe 99. You know what that made me think about? It made me think about in slavery when they had the black so-called Manny breastfeeding their children.
Mm.
Their children, and then she had to go home and try to breastfeed her own children. It's mockery at the worst.
At the highest degree. I,
Oh,
and I
this
also,
book upset me.
and it also
It really
reminds.
upset me
I'm not.
to to know that this is what they put in out here for our children, and we're thinking it's entertainment. And we're reading this nonsense which I've never read this book, damn child, not one. While working in Head Start, I realized something. They were selective in the books that they chose to use. I'm not saying every one of wasn't racist. There may be quite a few that were still racist, but they were always trying to give the children constructive information, right? And they could only use what they had. This book was not, any of these books we read so far were never any of the books we ever used. Never ever used. That's why I don't know these books. I think, who is these books? But if you go back and you look at the time these books were written, these are very old books. So code is in them, whether you want to believe it or not. So I suggest any parent go back and look at these books your children are reading. I don't care which ones they are. Read it for yourself and see, do you see the racism in it? Because I suspect you're gonna find it
Mm.
hiding in plain sight. That's the reason why I go back to the phrase that Dr. Welsing said. Reading is more important than watching TV. We must start looking at what our children are reading because it's programming them to what the racist supremacists want them to think, not what's really there for your analogy to pick up. It's only there to program you to what they want you to think. Thanks for listening.
Mm. Yeah, this reminds. Thank you so much for that, Christine. I mean, Miss Williams. This reminds me of how white people are able to consume milk with very limited, with ease versus a lot of black people who are lactose intolerant. So this may be adding mockery to, and also like be a part of the white code because white people have the associate milk calcium with like getting stronger and getting bones, just getting stronger. Whatever for whatever reason, they associate milk with strength, and perhaps it's because that's one of the few things that they can consume that we can't. Because when black people drink milk, um, lactose. I just mentioned it. Lactose intolerant. More black people are lactose intolerant versus white people. I suspect. So a cow like this with endless milk to give white people could really pull on a lot of white heartstrings. I believe, if that's making sense for anyone. But I think let's finish the book.
Well,
Let's.
can we look at the other page that has the animals with the blue face?
Oh,
That'll be
which yeah, just tell me the blue face. Is it this one? No, those are
no, the blue face with the
no.
animals
Oh,
talking.
with the blue eyes. This
Yeah,
one.
it says in paint, pose, and polka dots, pinheads and pigs, and their grandmother's grandfather's stepsister wigs. I ain't know animals wear wigs.
Yeah, I think this is also Yeah, when I
I
see
think
this,
where we
this could be what happens when white people go amongst black people, non-white people. They see the misery and insanity that they have created around us. You know, like the boy, he's having like he's having a grand old time. He doesn't mind being around these people who are quote crooning very sad tunes, you know, and due to the system of white supremacy, black people created blues, which is a very sad form of music, which expresses the symptoms of white supremacy. Some of it even expresses um this is the white supremacy directly. But anywho, I think this is I think these are definitely black people, non-white people with coiled, textured hair, and yeah, this is a good find for sure. And jog is my letter for spelling joggins who doodle around in the far desert dunes, just doodle around. Interesting. I know due to the system of white supremacy, a lot of non-white people just hang around doing much of nothing besides being sad. So this is definitely saying something. So let's finish this book. We're gonna reconvene right now. I'm gonna how many more pages? Oh, it's only like 10 more pages. So I'm gonna start it up. Once I stop reading, anyone can take over. Well, who wants to read? Or okay, I don't mind finishing it myself.
Me, I want to
I
read
want to
next.
read.
All right. So when I stop, Z and then Lay, that goes. Um, there's a letter called Yek, and the Yek is for a Yeko who house in an underground grotto and gecko. These Yekos love echoes, and this is their motto. For the best Yeko echoes, try gecko or grotto. All of the things you can find if you don't stay behind. On a world near the sun live two brothers called Rooms, who, strangely enough, are built sort of like brooms, and they're stuck all alone up there high in the blue. And so, to kill time, just for something to do, each one of these fellows takes turns with the other and sweeping the dust off his world with his brother. Z?
And hi, it's my letter to for hi
Gorgo or
Gorgo Orum for getting me places real fast. I'm all for them. They pull pu-
Puffle,
puffle along, and their bakeries
Breaks,
never breaks never squeak squeak,
Squeak.
and they run every hour every day of the week from the town of North Nub to the town of East One
Ounce.
Ounce, making soups at West Bagelfield, upstairs, and Johnsers,
Johns.
Johns, and and at
Ipswich.
Ipswich and Nipswich, and also South Bounce, and another small town that's too hard to pronounce. the places I been
I took him.
him. Sorry, it's hard to see. The places I took him, I tried hard to tell. Young Conrad Cornelius O'Donnell O'Bell. A few brand new wonderful words he might spell. I led him around and I tried hard to show there are things but
Beyond.
beyond Z that most people don't know. I took him past zebra as far as I could, and I think perhaps maybe I did him some good. Because finally he said, "This is really great stuff." I guess the old alphabet
Alphabet.
isn't
Okay, Lay.
Okay, I'll read 3. Now the letter he uses are something to see. Most people still stop at the Z, but no, not he. It's
List,
it
list, list.
list of letter for people who doesn't stop at Z.
Don't stop at Z.
Don't stop at Z.
So it's just an alphabet now. I guess you can read this page too.
Okay, I can read it. Yuz, it's for Yuz
A
a
mutters.
mataz. G, dummy.
Click.
Glick is for clicker.
Fast.
Spaz is for spasmy.
Spasm.
Spasm. Inch, it is for itch, a pod.
Pod.
Pods. W is for yum. Yum.
These are not letters. It's not a W. This is WOM. It's for Wumpas.
Wom is for wumpus. N is for nunches. Flub is for flub.
Bupper.
Bupper. Bap. Bupper. Buzz. Buzz. Yeek is for yeagle. Is for bus. Snee is for sneedle. That's it for.
That's it.
That's it. Roo is for rooms. Hump is for humps. Hump. A thump.
Fur.
Thumper.
Quan.
Quan is for
Quandary.
quandary.
Dog.
Jog is for strong goons. High is for high goggle or roam. Floody.
Fuddle.
Fuddle is for Miss Fuddle the Duddle.
And
Danan is for
no. And
Demeter. Flully.
flun.
Flun is for fun.
Flannel.
Follow.
And
And the ants.
Dr. Seuss's top children
now,
and
wait, hold on. And what do you think we should call this one? And there's another crazy design of,
oh yeah.
yeah.
What do you think we should call this one?
We should
Ooh.
call
All
them
right.
Facebook about Dr. Seuss.
Alrighty. So that concludes what let's dissect this racist propaganda. I Whenever we see white people in space, going to space, thinking about going to space, we should be reminded of what Miss Williams said earlier about how they want to do this forever. They want to dominate, conquer, and control forever. So these racist child, they're doing it. They're going to a whole new planet to mistreat and dominate over there. So, anyone else pick up anything from these final pages that we read?
Yes. I want to go to the canoe. He said is under ground railroad, and they say whatever they say because they make words and they will not stop. Like a keeping.
Saying this page looks like the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
Which page? So is
That
it?
one.
Yeah, that one.
Because
Uh,
it says, um,
Go back.
go back. I mean, the no one forward. Yeah, that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
It says, there's a letter called Yeek, and the Yeek is the Yekel, who house in the underground grotto in
mm,
Gukko. So they went underground. And I know that the Underground Railroad is where when black people was trying to escape to freedom.
Hmm.
But even then, they will still try to find you while you're trying to escape your freedom.
Yep.
Hmm.
yeah, this is a very interesting one for sure. Um, Grottos, I believe. I forget what a grotto is, but I know it's a place usually involving some kind of greenery. I think maybe enclosed greenery. I could be incorrect, but definitely very interesting page.
And then the page before that, with all them people, and it says, um, and way past the is a letter called itch, and the itch is for itchapods animals, which were around back and forth and back through the air on a very high sidewalk between here and there. They're afraid to stay there. They're afraid to stay here. They think they're too far. They think here is too near. And since there is too near and out there is too far, they are too scared to roost where are ever they are. That's us.
Yep.
That's us.
Yep.
I
We
I
go
feel like
here, there, up and down. We're scared. We're too afraid from where we are. We don't like new places. We don't travel as far as they would. So we're like scamming around through the earth and through this world, not knowing the bigger issues that we have because we're too afraid.
Mm. I think I heard Z about to say something. Thank you.
I was gonna say that it's okay.
I'm sorry, Z.
No one's fault.
Yeah, I think Chris and I think this very this page is so important because we get the red, white, and blue. You know, we see the red, white, and blue, And this is literally us. We have been made of people. We get dislocated, displaced. We are just the system of white supremacy fills us with so much anxiety and so much trauma that we really don't have a place of comfort or a place of peace, not even our own minds, because they think, they think, they think. So this is not only this is their real life, their physical that they're having to move, constantly move, but even their thoughts aren't still. And I think this is a great example of what racist men and racist women have done to non-whites, have made us people that can't sit still and think. And honestly, this page reminds me of Destruction of Black Civilization, because Chancellor Williams um makes a really great point in that book where he says, how is it that the blacks were able to build all these pyramids? How is it that the blacks were able to do all these great things before white supremacy was on the planet? And the answer to that question is because they were able to think. They weren't running from white people through the jungles. They weren't running from Asian people, from Arabs through the jungles to get in order to escape being enslaved, being raped, being killed, being castrated. They weren't running from their enemies. They had time to think. And if you take away a person's ability to think, there will be a scrambled soul, always on the edge, paranoid, unable to make choices that will benefit themselves or their people. So this is really important page. And this like when we see like this page, just know that this is the state of black people right now, the state of non-white people, thinking about everything but the problem, trying to do everything but solve the problem. I think thanks for bringing that up.
Okay.
I got the question about this page. With they write the letter I, it looked like a deadly word, like a deadly writing. Like I'm
Oh
trying.
yeah, like yeah, to
Is that what
TBH,
sword?
it reminds me of
Yeah,
a hanging tree.
yeah.
Like yeah, this is the red, white, and blue. You can't have red, white, and blue without a non-white person being lynched or hanged. That's integral to.
And I've noticed in all of the ones that we read, like it's always red, white, and blue, or red and blue, or red and white, stuff like that.
Yep. And just the red, white, and blue. What does that mean? So the blue, if I'm understanding the ISIS papers correctly, the blue and the red, white, and blue represents like the blue veins that you can see white people have. If you ever pay attention to white people, you can see their veins, and sometimes it could look a blue complexion. The red is for the endless blood that white people have to spill to maintain their so-called countries, such as England and the United States. And the white is for white people, of course. So I believe that's what the red, white, and blue means, and the white supremacist mindset. And I do believe that when white people see the colors red, white, and blue, consciously or subconsciously, they feel something that we don't. They feel a sense of pride, something that we don't, because we're not white and because this system is not for us, it's designed against us. So Dr. Seuss is a really clever white supremacist. He knows exactly what he's doing, but he did not expect counter racist soldiers to be on the prowl, not to be on the prowl, but to be studying his nonsense and just telling people the truth about this racist propaganda. Anyone have anything to add? Any other pages? Anyone have anything to say about this? Like, I don't fear anything besides one thing, and that's white supremacy spreading to other planets. I think it would be a travesty if this poison, this plague called white supremacy, is able to establish itself on other planets. I think that would be a huge blow to the galaxy, to the universe, if that happens. But as we can see through what white people write, they've been training themselves and their children to spread this to other planets. So we have to really solve this problem before they're able to spread it to other planets. We must solve this problem ASAP, or they're gonna be on Mars. Calling black people niggers, a Mars niggers, a migger, whatever. Space niggers. You know what? I heard Dr. Cress Welsing said. You know, white people said no coons on the moon. So they don't want us on. They don't want black people to explore, to live in peace, to have the ability to go to other planets. But that's what they're trying to do. Miss Williams, I see you have a hand raised.
Like I said, this is code for racist white supremacists to enjoy and mock. And it leads me to page 57. It says, people who don't step, who don't stop at Z, meaning to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and civilizations, to boldly go where no man has ever gone before. That's all I got.
Mm. Um. Yes. So we need to be. We also perhaps need to be people who don't stop at Z. And what that can also be interpreted as a people who look at things more closely, who look at things with an understanding of white supremacy, because due to the system of white supremacy, everything is related to it. Everything is on this planet to either support it, to help maintain it, to help refine it, or something like this, which is to counter it. So it's either supporting white supremacy or countering it. There's no in between. There's no middle ground when discussing the problem, the race problem. So
This page reminds me of all the non-white people that are just ignorant to the system, and they're just these little white kids is just they're willingly, knowingly just walking through them while they're
mm,
just sitting ignorant, sleeping to this system of the injustice we're living in.
yep. And like I see this as like just powerful beings just being stepped on, being stepped over, and they're none the wiser. We don't know what's going on. A large majority of black people, non-white people, don't know what's happening on planet Earth. Don't know that they are the biggest laughing stocks on planet Earth, and their only reason for being here, if it's is to be mistreated by white people. They don't have any other purpose but that. Leave it to the white supremacists. But maybe listen to black people who actually care about us, like Neely Fuller, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. We will understand that our purpose is not to be anyone's joke, not to be anyone's cattle, not to be anyone's livestock, but it's to be on a planet where there's justice and there's peace. And peace is not being able to go into your big apartment / house with all your trinkets. Peace is guaranteeing that no one is being mistreated, and the people who need him help receive help. And yeah, I just really am another important, a great example of what's happening on planet Earth. People are just asleep, too lazy to do anything about it, too careless to do anything about it. It's just a lot. It's just Dr. Seuss is just
Clever, very
yeah,
clever.
yeah.
It's just
They
basically showing us that we need to wake up. This is
Yep.
what's going on while we're literally sleeping.
Yeah, while we're sleeping, they're thinking about going to other planets. Not only are they thinking about going to other planets, but how can we go to other planets? Elon Musk, you know, has SpaceX. Jeff Bezos is talking about owning asteroids. So white supremacists are really on their grind 24/7. Black people must do the same, or else sooner than later we won't have a universe to produce justice in. They'll have it all, like they already have all the planet Earth. And if you think they don't own planet Earth, look at Africa, a place where you would think black people own it. But if that was the case, why is there so much suffering amongst the non-white black people in Africa? The answer, because Africa is really owned by racist man, racist woman, and it's just a lot. This I didn't think this book would produce this sort of discussion, but leave it to the smartest people, racist man, racist woman, to do such a awesome job of hiding this stuff in plain sight, because that's the MO. They hide it in plain sight. So the white people who are in the know, which is the majority of the white people who are in the know, they can see it and they can laugh at it. And then they can see a black person reading it, and then they can laugh at the black person for reading it, because the black person is not looking at this under with the context of white supremacy. They're just looking at this as a regular Dr. Seuss book. But if we don't understand race and white supremacy, it's very hard to understand much of anything, as far as I'm concerned. So, what lessons is this book attempting to teach people? Leia Z.
That
Well, what-
race and white premises can hide everything, and I think this book is just telling me personally that a lot of like people are kind of like scared and lazy and just dreaming while the white supremacists are doing all this stuff and they don't even know what's happening.
Wait, would you like to answer? What is this book attempting to teach? What is this book teaching?
it's teaching us how to that white people just call whatever name they like to call them.
Mm. I think this book is teaching white children to think outside the box and to think big, have big goals, and attempt to achieve your goals in big ways. So a good example of the kind of education white children get, which is you're the best, you could do anything, go out and do anything you want, versus what the non-white child gets, which is not much of an education. We're kind of just taught to be white people's slaves, how to be complacent in the system of white supremacy by not understanding it and not doing anything to understand it. So yeah, it's just very tragic, tragic. But I am seeing participating in things like this where children are reading this book and just seeing the atrocious world we live in. It's the work that will eventually leave lead to the problem being solved. Does anyone? Um, this page right here. Um, just I don't know. This reminds me of those pictures I see, and you can even find like recent pictures, but pictures of black people in Africa carrying white people on like some throne, some kind of chariot like thing. This is what this reminds me of. Just the imagery again with the red, white, and blue. Interesting, interesting. So I think we could get into closing comments. Would anyone like to start?
I'll start. This book was very just it was very eye opening. I feel like learning how to decode this was more out there than the other books. This was something that wasn't so much in hiding, especially if you're learning and you know the system. I feel like Dr. Seuss knew what he was doing. He's very clever, and to know that he's still being celebrated today for the cleverness he has done, and I feel like nobody the reason why the book company try to take away these books is because they don't want want us to catch on and to know better that he was setting these children up to continue to function this white supremacy system. So it's just a crazy insight to decode these books because it's I understand why now they took it off the shelves, but now it makes me want to decode other books. But yeah, it's just Dr. Seuss. He a whole character. I don't have much to say.
Mm, well said. Mm, yeah, for me, my closing comment is yeah, like I'm still learning, so I could totally for this book on Beyond Zebra, like you really have to be on your counter racist grind to see the racism in this book, because this is, I believe this is hidden very well in plain sight. I don't think the average non-white person can read this book and say, "Oh, that's racist," because if I had read this a couple of like last year, I wouldn't have thought, and I would have been none the wiser. I wouldn't have thought it was racist. I would have just, this is a really interesting book, and I like the rhymes, is what I would have probably thought. But as we're able to decode and pick up on what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing mentions, that as that the truth frequency, which begs to come to life, the truth begs to be brought to surface, and no matter how hard they try to hide it, we can decode it. So yeah, not overtly racist, but definitely a great example of how well they hide their racist propaganda in plain sight. And you're totally correct that Dr. Seuss is a character. Um, he not only did he have not only did he not have any children, but he had imaginary children. And we tell kids that they can only have imaginary friends up until a certain age. So I'm suspicious as to how his mind functioned, but in a system of white supremacy, I suspect majority of racist suspects to have very, very interesting ways of thinking that lead to very, very vile things happening on planet Earth, to say the least. And I'm gonna end it there for myself. Lay Z, closing comments, Miss Williams.
I really liked how we decoded this book, and that there's a lot of stuff that's hidden in here that I didn't even think about. I was just hearing all the stuff that you guys were saying, and I was really, really like amazed that you thought about all this. So, I'm just really excited for the next one, and I really liked this one. It was really good discussion.
Thank you, Miss Z. Miss Leia.
Um, I learned I learned that I just so happy that you just decoded the book. That's all.
Short and sweet. Thank you. Anyone else like to share closing comments?
Oh, well, after reading this book, all I can do is shake my head to think about the mindset of a person who would use a child to push their propaganda. But I should not be surprised, but it's just as a being an educator for all these years, I have had taught children. I'm hurt. I'm hurt because I never would have guessed they would have done this. But and I've never had to decode a book, especially a child's book. I've never thought about that because I just assumed everything was nice and wholesome and whatever. So I didn't have any reason to. But as being a part of this book club and decoding these children's books, I'm looking at, wait a minute, this is horrible. This is really horrible. So we have to be very, very careful in the books we are putting out there before our children. We have to be, because if they did it in this book and these other ones they banned, you can be assured they are in these other ones too. But you got to be able to look at it with a new, fresh of eyes. You can't look at it the way you used to look at books. I used to read children's book and be very dramatic and even read them, right? Because that's how they taught us how to read books. So children would want to listen. But it's not about that. It's about watching each frame of a book. Every page of that book is saying something. Look at those pictures carefully. Then, if it has words, read those words and see what you're getting from both. Because they're saying stuff to us and we're just missing it. So all I'm saying is that I'm hurt. But I shouldn't be, but I am, because this is one of the books I've never read. But as reading it, it shows me the danger that's put out there for the minds of our children to be continually misled, especially non-white children. And we're thinking we're giving them a balanced education, but it's more miseducation. And we have to consider that. So I want to congratulate the children and their parents for being a part of this, because that's what we really need more of. And even people in the book club who don't have children, you have nieces, you have nephews. You need to learn this information so then you can be the eyes to open their eyes about what their children are reading. You know, my children are all grown and gone, so I don't even have children to be reading to anymore. But the point of it is that I'm reading children's books again, but I'm reading with a new, fresh eyes and a new mindset that I'm looking to counter racism in children's books as well, because it's out there. And I just want to congratulate you children for being a part of this. You are very brave, and I think you're very intelligent. And I just love the way you took your time to look at this information. But I suggest in our next book reading to get your piece of paper and jot down each page in what you are picking up. Because if you wait till you read the book at the end, you're going to lose concentration. So if you take little notes along the way, you will pick up more information and your eyes will be keener to watch for the hidden things that they're trying to hide. Thank you so much, children. I really appreciate y'all being here. And I thank all the parents for being a part of it and letting your children be a part. And I thank the host for realizing how important this is for us to learn about. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I second that. Miss Z and Miss Leia, um, you guys are really the future. And when I say the future, it's not the future of white supremacy, but the future that could bring it in, that could be replace the system of white supremacy if myself and Miss Williams and Miss Carice failed to do so in our lifetime. So this is really important work we're doing here, and never, never, never forget that this is the most important work that needs to be done on planet Earth. So that being said, thank everyone